Okay, so on this one, we need to make it equal 0. It is not yet, but we're going to make it equal to 0, just like we saw, what was it, 2 problems ago? So to do this, there's a couple different ways to do this. You could actually subtract 23w and subtract 5 from both sides. I prefer to do it just once. So I'm going to subtract from both sides. Sorry, not subtract, but I'm going to zero out the negative 12w. I'm going to add 12w squared to both sides. And I'm putting it here on the left, plus 12w squared, putting it on the left of the right side of the equal sign. But again, I just don't want that to get confused with 23w plus 12w squared, that I can combine those, right? But on the left side, I do get 0, which is what I want. But now on the right side, I want that 12w squared term first, just so it kind of maintains that same format that we've been seeing. And then we have a positive 23w and also a positive 5. Now, if I had some perfect squares in here, you know, we could take a quick shortcut maybe, but none of them are. So, and I don't see any greatest common factors that I can take out either. So it looks like we're going to have to resort to factoring by grouping. So I do 12 times 5, which is 60. And then I got to find 2 factors of 60 that add up to 23. That's 20 and 3. Now, I skipped some of those factors, but add them together, you still get 23, right? So the 23 W's, I'm going to split up into those 2 groups, 20 W's and then 3 W's. But then we still got the rest of it, so that's a 12w squared. That was a positive 20w. And then we got the plus 5 on the tail end there. Okay, so we're looking at factoring by grouping. Again, it does equal 0, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm going to factor from this first group. It looks like a 4 and a w. So what am I left with? Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3. W squared divided by w is just an individual w. And then 20 divided by 4 is positive 5, and then the w we factored out. Now this next one, it's actually already set up as 3w plus 5, right? So on this one right here, that means that I'm going to need to show that I have factored out a positive 1. Because everything divided by 1 is itself. And I want that plus 1 there, so I have something to stay there after I factor out my 3w's plus 5. Okay, so what do I have left? Well, I have the 4w's, and if I didn't have that plus 1 there, then I'd be like, what the crap do I do? But I have it, so I now know what to do. So this all equals 0. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good so far. But we're not done yet, so we got to finish with a little bit more space. And yeah, we're going to make that 3w plus 5. If I could get it to equal 0, would be good. So I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to solve this, subtract 5 from both sides, 0 that out, drop my 3w's, which equals negative 5, and then finally divide both sides by 3, and I get w is negative 5/3. Okay, now if you go back up here, you could use this equation, you could even use this one. Remember, this was just the negative 5/3 is to make this equation equal 0. But we had several different equivalent equations throughout. This one, and this one all equal to 0. The one we really want to check is this one, though. So always go back to the beginning equation to check, because if it's false, you may have just made a small mistake somewhere in between here. Again, you could check here, you could check here, but really you want to check in the beginning, okay? So let's see what I get. I'm going to replace the w with negative 5/3. I'm just using the calculator. Negative 12 parentheses, negative 5/3, close parentheses, to the power of 2. Oh, it's kind of ugly, but it's going to work. On the left side, I got negative 100/3. And again, I got a question mark over my equal sign because I don't know if it's going to be equal, because I could have made some mistakes. But then I'm going to take my 4w. Oh, man. 4w plus 1. 4w plus 1. If I could get that to equal 0, I'd get a true statement as well. So let's take that and solve it. Okay, so subtract 1 from both sides. That's going to 0 that out. Drop your 4w's equals negative 1. Then divide both sides by 4 to make it a 1w, phantom 1, equals negative 1/4. Yeah, thank you. I do need to check the right side as well. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so 20/3, I gotta check that one. 20/3 times negative 5/3 plus 5, enter. It gave me a decimal, but I changed it to a fraction, negative 100/3. And so that confirms that I went back, negative 100/3 there. I went back and checked the negative because I could have checked on the right side, but I didn't. That was true. That was true. And now I can box that in with confidence knowing that I have found that as a solution. But now I need to check both sides with negative 1/4. I'll try not to forget the right side on this one though. So negative 12 parentheses, negative 1/4 to the power of 2, enter. And on the left side I got, so I'm checking this again, right, with my blue answer. We got a negative 3/4 on the left. Okay, so 20/3 times negative 1/4 plus 5. And I got negative 3/4 again. So it was true when we checked the first answer, which was negative 5/3. It was true when we checked with W equals 1/4. So we have both solutions right there.